I was looking at your UCLA roster information.
Oh boy.
It said you can solve a Rubik's Cube.
All right.
Do you think you can still do it?
I know I can.
Oh, you can. Okay.
Yeah.
I'll give you this.
Let's see if I can get locked in. I can somewhat talk while I do it.
All right.
I also just might have to go somewhat.
No, you're
quiet.
good. I'll get ready for
We'll
this.
see.
All right, Jake Knapp, welcome to the Scoop.
Thank you very much for having me.
We went with what for you?
We got cookie dough, Ben & Jerry's.
Yes. So I have a bunch of questions for you.
Okay.
We'll start off easy. Can you take me through your journey starting at UCLA to now?
Yeah, it's gonna be a long journey. So I left school early, or left UCLA early in early 2016. Went up to Canada, did some Monday qualifiers, got into a couple, I believe, that year, and then only played maybe 4 events or something like that. Came back down. I missed at Corn Ferry Q School, so I went back to Canada Q School. This is now in 2017. I won Canadian Q School in 2017, so played up there. Ran into some back issues, so didn't play the second half of the year, but played well enough to keep my status. So went back up in 2018, hopeful, healthy, everything was good. Didn't play well, lost my Canadian status. So then end of 2018 was being really smart and playing pickup basketball and tore 3 ligaments in my left ankle.
Oh my God.
So missed, that was 2 weeks before Corn Ferry Q School. So I didn't do Q School in 2018. Went back to Canada Q School in 2019. Won Q School again in 2019. Went back up to Canada. Won 2 of the first 3 events. I was able to finish top 5 or top 3 on the Canadian Tour that year and got on to Corn Ferry. And then played those COVID seasons, so 2020, 2021, lost status in 21, fell back down, missed at Q School again for Corn Ferry. So still had Canadian status because I won out there technically a couple of years prior. They didn't have any seasons during COVID really. So went back up there. That was in 22 now, and then finished second on the points list again in 22. And then Corn Ferry played solid all year and got out here last year.
Awesome. What is your favorite UCLA memory with your teammates?
I'd love to say just the entire thing. I loved all my guys on that team, but I think one of the ones that always stuck with me, we were playing a practice round at Erin Hills, and it was similar to weather we're getting here this week, just cold, windy, raining. Every other college team kind of packed it in for the day, and we played all 18, and we just had a picture of us with towels taped around our face and everything because it was 30 degrees and raining, so that was a pretty fun memory.
You did not overlap with Patrick Cantley, right?
No,
okay.
He left a year before I got there.
So you took over for him.
Yeah.
So the 2015 US Open, how old were you when you qualified?
I would have been 20, maybe 21 at that point.
What was that experience like from qualifying to playing? What were the emotions there?
Super nerve-wracking. I had played in the Farmers earlier that year, so I kind of knew what to expect. But US Open is just on a whole nother scale, and the golf course is just ridiculously difficult. So I remember hitting the first tee shot, and for the first time in my life I hit it, and my eyes, I think I was just so nervous, my eyes didn't pick up where it went, so I hit it, some people clapped, and then I just walked over to my brother and I was like, where'd it go? And he was like, oh, right down the middle, it's a good shot. And I was like, wow, never saw it. Sounds good.
Do you remember meeting any pros that week who are now out here?
Yeah, I got to play a practice round with Martin Keimer, which was cool. Brooks Koepka, played with JB Holmes. Just got to kind of be around a bunch of different guys, which was pretty sweet.
That's awesome. So you have a partnership with the Anaheim Ducks. How did that come to be?
Tim Ryan, who was the president of the team when I was a kid, basically, or kind of growing up, he was a member at my home course. And he always knew we met when we were just casually playing 9 holes, and we got to meet one another, and then I told him how I've always been a Ducks fan, and he had a bunch of Ducks gear, and I didn't really know his affiliation at the time. And then once I got to know him, he was nice enough to give me some tickets every now and then I was like, what if we just sort of did a Duck sponsorship? That'd be kind of fun, something different, it's local, and there's a personal connection there. And then when I got on Corn Ferry in 2020, we ended up doing something and done it ever since. So it's been a pretty cool, unique partnership.
So your social media handle has LTD.
Yeah.
What's the story there?
So it stands for Living the Dream. It used to be kind of more sarcasm. So I grew up going to a public course, and it kind of just seemed like the same 4 or 5 guys, core guys, were kind of there all the time, or just like the guys who worked there, it was the same guys every day. So they all knew my family, we all knew them, everybody was really, really close. And it was just like almost sarcasm. You'd walk in and just be like, how's everybody doing? And you're like, oh, just living the dream. And that's kind of where it sort of jokingly started. But then, it became stuff where, like, in high school, I made stickers with LTD and had it on the back of my car and all that sort of stuff. So my brother and I, it's just been something we've always been into.
Your slogan.
Yeah,
at this
exactly.
point. You're very into fitness. We did a deep dive on your social media, so
Oh, boy.
we saw from like 2015 to
Oh,
now.
yeah.
How important is physical fitness for your game and your mentality out here?
Yeah, I think physically, mentally, it's super important for me. I think life can get kind of busy, especially now out here. Just kind of always around people, always talking, always doing stuff, always working on something, and then that to me has always been like a kind of a safe space, or just a little bit of an escape for a couple hours. Just go put in headphones and it's just me, and I get to do what, not what I really want to do, but just something that like just kind of helps put me at ease, I guess, after even the stressful day or good day, whatever it might be. But yeah, it's just always been a big part of, even my game. I like to, I've always had speed somewhat, and I think being able to make sure that I'm strong enough to move it efficiently rather than relying just on flexibility or fast twitch or anything like that. So trying to just stay strong from start to finish through a season.
Is it a lot of like lifting? Do you work with a trainer out here, or are you kind of doing it
Yeah.
yourself? Okay.
I have some trainers I work with out here, and I'm starting to do more of that now just because I needed some help with programming, making sure I'm not doing things that are going to hurt me long term, or things that are better based on maybe injuries we've seen in the past. So trying to program stuff around that. And then, yeah, I've changed, like my overall volume of workouts has gone down a lot now just because I play a lot more throughout a year than I used to. So used to train like 4, 5, 6 days a week, pretty intense, like even during tournament weeks and stuff. And now it's probably more 3 to 4 days, but it's a little bit smarter due to how much workload I'm doing on the course.
Who has been the biggest mentor in your life?
Probably my parents, my brother. I mean, probably just overall my family in general. I think, my parents worked super hard and instilled that in my brother and I. So always looked up to them and appreciated everything that they kind of paved the way for us and on what we should be doing.
And your brother played college golf as well, right?
Yeah. Yeah, he played at UC Irvine.
Okay. What advice would you give to your younger self?
It's just not that big of a deal. Relax, there's bigger fish to fry down the road.
How do you unwind in between tournaments?
Just enjoy spending time at home. Usually play some video games at night with my buddies, and that's kind of all I need to wind down during an off week.
Okay. So you've won a PGA Tour event.
Yep.
The rest of the billions of the people on the planet never will. So can you take us through what it feels like coming down 18, getting that win, and then kind of just the rest of the night with the emotions?
Yeah, I think it's a bit surreal. Like for me, at least, like I felt like I, wanted to get like, I'm not a very emotional person, but I just wanted to get emotional because that everything, like the years and everything leading up to that, it's all been leading up to that point. And it wasn't like one of those where like you win and you're like, oh, this is like, I guess this is it sort of thing. It was just definitely one of those where it's like a big exhale almost when it's done. And like, not to mention the day that I won was stressful. I wasn't playing super well, and it was
you hit like 2 fairways, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
So it was a grind from start to finish. So it wasn't like a easy coast. I got to enjoy it throughout the day. It was like I was, even on 17, had to make like a 5-foot par putt that's just like kind of a knee knocker. So, but once I hit the wedge shot on the last hole, it was one of those where it was like, oh, okay, like the job's kind of done now. So it's pretty surreal for sure.
And then the days following that, do you feel like you get to soak it in, or is it like back to business? We gotta.
Yeah, that's probably the only thing I would take back maybe, or if I could redo, I probably would have taken the week off after I won. Even though I played well the next week, I finished top 5 the next week, and that was in my head. I was like, well, I'm playing well. Why wouldn't I keep on playing? And I try to play as many weeks as I can. I just enjoy it. So, but at the same time, it would have been nice to be able to just like soak it in, go see my family, celebrate a little bit, because I did, I flew that night. I played in a Pro-Am the next morning. I then went and prepared for the next golf tournament to start on Thursday. So and then, I played the Arnold Palmer the next week, played the Players the next week, and I didn't get a week off till after that.
Oh
So
my God.
it was a lot of golf in a short stint. Probably would have been good to take a break, but
Now you know that for the next win.
Exactly.
Yeah.
100%.
Advice for someone wanting to increase their swing speed. If there's like a 14-year-old kid on the range, would you tell him, what would you say?
If somebody just really wants to increase speed, I think you just got to move it fast. Like, don't worry about where it's going to go. Don't worry about how it gets moving fast. Just move it quickly. There's a lot of different training aids and things out there that you can use to help, but I think for the most part, just learning how to move your driver faster is the best practice you can get.
Okay, and then I ask everybody this: a low moment of your career, a high moment, and something that you've learned.
A low moment, definitely when I hurt my ankle in 2018. That was, it's like 3 years after being a pro. All my contracts were kind of done at that point, so I was a free agent, but also it's like you don't really have any sponsor help or anything like that. So that was a low point, because that was definitely a time where I was like, I could just kind of stop now, and it is what it is. And then high point, definitely winning Mexico. I think that's a no-brainer for me.
And then what you learned, or something you've learned.
Something I learned. I think just that I wasn't playing amazing leading up to like the start of the season that year, and I think it was just one of those things where you just have to trust that you're doing the right things during your during your weeks off or during the days leading up to tournaments. So done a better job of that now, of whether I have one really good day or one really bad day. It's just not the end of the world. Like it's just all going to even out over time. So just trying to stay on top of the things that I know I need to be doing in order to get better for, whether it's next week or a month from now.
Okay, and then our final segment here is Brain Freeze, presented by Penguin.
Okay.
But first, I was looking at your UCLA roster information.
Oh boy.
It said you can solve a Rubik's Cube.
Yep.
So we brought one for you.
Oh boy. All right.
You think you can still do it?
I know I can.
Oh, you can.
Yes.
Well, okay.
Yeah.
I'll give you this.
Let's see if I can get locked in. I can somewhat talk while I do it.
All right.
I also just might have to go somewhat.
No, you're
quiet.
good. I'll get ready for
We'll
this.
see. My caddy can solve one too, which is pretty crazy. He can honestly probably even solve it almost faster than I can. But we were messing around with it a couple weeks ago, and we both just solved it once, and we're like, all right, cool, I can still do it. So,
Okay.
all right, it's okay. You can ask away. I'll keep
All right.
messing with it.
All right. Brain freeze. Let's see. Top artist you listen to.
Mac Miller.
Best part of your game that needs the most work.
As of the last couple weeks, driver.
Most memorable or weird fan interaction.
I hit it into a guy's jacket pocket at Farmers Insurance last year. Yeah, missed an iron shot just right of the green, went right into his jacket pocket.
What do they have you do?
He just has to stand still, and then I take it out, and then I basically drop it as close to his where it would have gone if it didn't land in his pocket.
If you weren't a pro golfer, what would you be?
I'd probably do something in the fitness industry. It's something that I've always been kind of into. So, yeah, something along those lines.
Last pro golfer you texted.
Frankie Sappin.
Favorite movie?
I'd say Miracle.
Favorite Taylor Swift song?
That's where you're gonna lose me. I'm not much of a Swiftie. I don't exactly know any Taylor Swift songs, unfortunately.
All right, fair. Last book you read?
Psycho-Cybernetics.
Course you haven't played but want to?
St. Andrews.
Dream foursome?
Tiger, Freddie, and Luke Donald.
Best shot you've ever hit in a tournament?
Yeah, I don't have as great of a shot bank memory, but I think, at least for me, the shot that I hit on 13 at Farmers to get there in 2, I was the only person to hit it on the green in 2 that day.
Oh,
so
nice.
That felt good.
And then I have 2 photos, again, that we did a deep dive on your social media.
Okay.
Jake Knapp in the media room after his 24-hole playoff at the Western Am.
Yeah.
Tell me about this photo, this day. What was going on?
I think that's just pure exhaustion on my face. I think I already played an 18-hole match prior to that 24-hole match. So it was on the golf course at like 7 a.m. and then I played until the sun went down. I played against Gavin Hall, who actually initially went to UCLA as well and then transferred to Texas. So there was a little bit of like hostility there because he left school
Yeah.
when we were supposed to be playing together. But yeah, that was just a crazy week. I had like I think my first match of the day went to the 18th hole, and then that match went 24 holes, and it was just one of those where it's like, just felt like I was hitting the golf ball from sun up to sundown.
Yeah.
So.
And then this one.
Oh yeah, legend. So I got to meet Clint at a Folds of Honor event when I had just turned pro. They do one out at La Quinta Country Club in Palm Springs. And last minute they were like, hey, we really need one more pro. You know, a couple guys backed out, and so they asked me if I could do it. And I said yes, and then I showed up and they said, they're like, don't worry, I think you're really gonna like your grouping today. And they paired us up together. So got to play 18 holes with him and talk to him all day, and he's just, you know, he's like anybody's favorite grandparent. He's just
How was he?
Super nice guy, super funny, has a really cool custom Scotty Cameron putter that kind of has all of his, you know, movie quotes for different things.
Oh,
on
really?
it, which is pretty cool. Yeah.
That's awesome.
But super nice guy, very, very random. Then we got to have dinner together, so it was just a very fun day. And then I want to say we share the same birthday too. It was something we found out
really?
randomly.
That's great.
Yeah, so very, very small world.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Of course.
This was great. How's
Thank
that
you.
coming along? Are we
All right.
getting there or no?
No, I'll get it locked in.
Okay.
All right. All right. Let's see. I gotta restart.
Is there
unfortunately.
performance anxiety right now or
Of
no?
course, of course. It's yeah, it's just one of those things. It's funny. I think I always have one on like my kitchen counter. Too.
Really?
Yeah, and then I just walk by it just about every single day, so I can kind of talk. I'll at least just so it's not just me sitting here messing with it.
Yeah.
I can talk through how I do it. So
Okay.
I start by solving, or you put yellow on top, white on bottom. So that's how I start. Start by solving the bottom first. So you usually start with a cross, then you solve the corners. Then you have a T in every single side that matches with the center. So then I'll solve basically these bottom two rows on every single side. And then from there, you'll get a yellow cross. Then you'll solve yellow face, and then from there you just have to solve the top row, and then you're.
Oh, so you're
then you're
already
done.
close.
We're sneaking up on it, you know. It's a process. Ooh.
It's got to be good for like your brain health too. Keeps you sharp, right?
I think so too. Good for some cognitive stuff.
Yeah.
I used to do it. I used to like travel with it on a plane all the time, and I have like 4 of them now. They're all pretty beaten up, but yeah. So now we'll get. Let's see. We get a top cross. Now we'll solve the top face.
I saw that Neil Shipley does like SAT questions. Did
Oh
you
my
see
gosh.
that during his?
I couldn't
his
do
rounds?
SAT questions
But you could do this.
when I was supposed to do SAT questions.
But like
I,
he does that to like stay calm in between shots. Like
Yeah.
this could be your thing.
It could be. I could try it. I don't know
If there's
it
a
would
long
work very well for me.
a
but-
backup on like a third par 3 or something.
Exactly. Let's see. All right. So there. So now we have all that. Okay. One more time.
Ooh.
Oh, one more. That's where you just have to keep doing the same move.
Okay.
And then now
So
you're done.
people get lost because nice job.
Yeah.
So people get lost because they don't have a pattern. I'm
Yeah.
guessing, right? They're just like if I were to do that, I would just be.
For sure.
Yeah.
Like anybody, you can figure out eventually, like the one thing that like you have to understand like how the cube works. So like orange and red are always opposite.
Okay.
Blue and green are always opposite. Yellow and white are always opposite. So the centers don't move. You can move it around as much as you want, but the center of the cube is always going to be there.
Okay.
So yeah, it's more so just understanding that like this piece right here that's red, blue, and yellow is always going to be in that corner. So like that's always going to match. That's always going to match. That's always going to match. So that's like where that piece has to be located.
Got it.
So yeah, it's Yeah, it's a whole, I don't know, it's a whole ordeal, but I love it. I like
Yeah,
messing
that's
around
like me
with
with 2048. That's my game that I play. Do you know that one?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's a
Oh,
fun
yeah.
one.
That is a good one.
Awesome. Well,
yeah.
thank you so much.
I appreciate
This is great.
it. Thank you.
It seemed like you were always like one of.
I know.
I know.
And then I started to get nervous at the beginning. I was like, oh shoot, I hope I didn't put pressure on him if he can't get it.
Checkerboard in there.
Wow, very cool.
Here at The Scoop, we have 2 golden rules. 1, you need to have good ice cream. 2, you need to have a good outfit. And that's why I'm wearing Penguin. I've got the jacket, the sweater, and even a pair of pants, so we're ready to go.